Ladies and gentlemen, the US dollar has been depreciating significantly against the Singapore dollar and has caused many people's portfolio that's denominated in USD to decline significantly since the start of this year, since Trump took position. Now, will this continue? There are signs right now that this might kind of flatten soon and or at least slow down. And these are good news for investors that are based in Singapore. So let's watch and see what these good news are, and let's watch on, shall we? Before I start the video, let me also brief everybody that an important announcement is coming up as well. So make sure you watch till the end. And these are my usual disclaimers. These are for education and entertainment and not for financial advice. So the key important announcement I'm making today is that we have finally got the AI course sign up process done up, and it will be launched tomorrow evening on the 22nd of July night on Tuesday. It will be launched on our YouTube live stream, and the notification will be turned on for YouTube and also for our 1865 Telegram group. So make sure you sign up for both and hit subscribe for both our YouTube channel in 1865 and also our Telegram channel as well. And this is our Telegram channel link, and you can actually scan this and hit subscribe. I will notify everybody from both sides. This course aims to be a game changer for many of us who have been lagged behind the entire AI wave. I understand, okay? And this specially cater for those people who are far behind in the AI revolution that's having right now. We will help everybody to level up as much as possible so that we'll not be too far behind the young folks. So I think it'll be a very good artificial intelligence essential course. You'll be reasonably priced at $99.99. It's a one-day course to be held on the 20th of September. And let's watch on and make sure that you do not miss this big event. So the US dollar has been depreciating against the Singapore dollar, as you can see from the graph here, right? So this year it went down pretty significantly, and it has actually hurt many people's portfolio, and I understand. But has this also just impact the US dollar to Sing dollar? Let's take a look. So against the ringgit, actually, ringgit has depreciated even more. So the US dollar actually appreciated against the ringgit as well. So it's something that we need to know that this only hit the Singapore investors in a pretty significant way. Against the euro, the US dollar has also depreciated as well, and that is a global phenomenon right now against key currencies. Why is there a fall of the US dollar? Well, there are many reasons, but the most important reason is that the US interest rate is expected to fall. And this is something that really caused everybody to take flight out of the US right now. And this is something that we are prepared to see in terms of interest rate differential. The European Central Bank has kept their interest rate high after many cuts, and not lower it down further. So this results in the currency hot money, not flowing from Europe to US as well. This is also very bad for the strength of the US dollar. Now, there is a tariff shock, okay? As a result, in early part of this year, there was a Liberation Day where Donald Trump suddenly announced a huge amount of tariffs. This has been deemed quite negative against US businesses. And as a result, this is deemed very negative against the US dollar as well, as investors then shift money out of US asset. The US budget deficit and their debt situation is so bad that Moody has stripped off a AAA rating, and actually this also caused some impact on the US dollar. So Moody has stripped the US of a AAA rating on May the 16th, and the reason why it's done that is because there is an increasing debt pile and interest cost now nearing to $1 trillion. So as a result, there is a very negative view towards the US government and US treasuries. So therefore, there is flight out of US treasury, and as well, people sell down a US dollar. This coupled with the fact that Donald Trump is trying to enact a new beautiful bill, but it's not so beautiful because it actually lowers taxes and increase spending of US government, and this will worsen on paper the debt situation. And as a result, many people are scared that the debt bubble will burst. And again, that causes flight out of US Treasury as well. So right now, there's a lot of portfolio reallocation globally away from US asset, which is deemed very scary. Japan and China are trying to cut US Treasury holding, and this is something that is quite significant. So with more people selling US asset, therefore they will then sell US dollar as well. Then therefore this thing comes down. So plus a lot more reasons here and there, the US dollar is really at a 10-year low or so. Well, surprisingly, today Donald Trump came out with a comment and says that no, we are not going to let the dollar slide. If you're a smart president, you're never going to let the dollar slide. Now, this kind of contradicts to his earlier statement that, it's okay to let the dollar slide. And he said, if you have a dummy president, that could happen. But he was the one who caused the US dollar to decline, right? So when Donald Trump took office in January the 22nd, and since then the US dollar has been down more than 10% for the first 6 months of the year. It was the dollar's worst start of the year in more than half a century since 1973. So he got to take the blame, right? But fortunately, at least now he saw it and maybe he's going to do something about it. Meanwhile, on the Singapore side, things have changed as well. The Sing dollar now face pressure from US tariff. So we potentially may not come out very, very good out of this. So the news have come out that the Asian currency, which is already weakening as the US dollar recovers, now faces fresh tariff threat after US President Donald Trump recently warned that he may impose levies on pharmaceutical and semiconductors, two of Singapore's key exports. Now, if tariffs are hit on these two key exports, then it's getting more difficult to sell into US. Therefore, people will buy less Singapore dollar, and as a result, US to Sing dollar might actually have the reverse right now. So Trump said that the pharmaceutical tariffs could reach 200%, where Singapore pharmaceutical products actually have a lot that sells into US and the rest of the world as well. So this could spell a not so good news. Now, of course, Deputy Prime Minister Gan Kim Yong is trying to do his best to negotiate some relief, and it will really depends on what comes out of this negotiation. So earlier this month, US President Donald Trump has said that he plans to announce tariff on imported pharmaceutical, which could reach 200%, but he will give drug makers a year to get their act together. So now this news is potentially not so good for Singapore and therefore our exchange rate as well. We're going to be announcing pharmaceutical, chips, and various couple of other things, big ones, when he announced all these tariffs, and this could potentially mean very bad news for Singapore. Now, with the tariff uncertainty, which is going to have some clarity in August, hopefully, and if this spells to be a higher tariff for pharmaceutical, then this could add to the headwinds for Singapore in the second half, said a currency strategist at Bank of Singapore. The Singapore dollar may weaken to $1.30 instead of the $1.28 right now to the US dollar. And if rising levies now actually cause US inflation to go up, and the US delay the interest rate cuts as well, so that could actually happen. So we are very sensitive to what's happening in US in terms of inflation and also the interest rate cuts. Right now, the base case interest rate cut in September. Now, suddenly, if July interest rate cut will happen in US, then of course the currency situation will go in favor of Singapore dollar. But all these are right now in the air. But base case right now, $1.30 might be the holding level. So with the MAS likely to stay on an easing path and flatten the slope of the SNER this month, our bias for further Sing dollar weakness. So right now, analysts are saying that there is potentially a Singapore dollar weakness, which means that maybe our US dollar denominated asset may not weaken anymore. While Singapore Central Bank MAS looks to likely ease policy, bets on the Federal Reserve rate hikes might have been pushed back as policymakers watch for the tariff-related inflation postulating the US currency. So right now, all depend on what's going to happen when Donald Trump announced more tariff in August, and also on the inflation situation, and also then finally on the interest rate. All these will decide where things will go. If the tariff turns out aggressive, then inflation might turn out aggressive, then the interest rate cuts might be delayed, then the Singapore dollar will weaken. So the key takeaway for all this is this: the US dollar Singapore dollar exchange rate is dependent on the confluence, right, of both the MAS and Trump policy. If Trump policy turn out in such a way that what I said, that is aggressive, then maybe you'll hit the Singapore dollar. If MAS decided to relax its exchange rate policy, the Sing dollar might allow to weaken. So the two policies will depend on it. Currently, right now, it's looking like $1.30 might be the direction to go according to analysts. But I lived my life in a situation when I was in US between 2011 and 2012. It was $1.22 or so versus the Singapore dollar. So right now we have actually appreciated, right? So a lot of people say, US dollar decline, decline, decline. That wasn't the worst. Now, is it possible? Yes, I think it's possible to reach $1.22 as well. But it's hard to say. Analysts are saying $1.30. But let's watch this signal, because every exchange rate weakness of the Singapore dollar caused our portfolio to weaken despite a incredible bull run in the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq and the Dow Jones. So the signal right now is that the Sing dollar might soften. Okay, then that basically provides some support level. So I think this is important fact for all to know. Okay, so let's just watch and see in this space. I'll see you in the live stream tonight. Thank you and have a nice day.